Now, I want to talk about this because I just read this interview actually earlier today before I even knew that I was going to interview Gavin. Gavin, you did another interview with Jesse Hughes, who, of course, is the Eagles of death metal singer who was playing at the Bataclan Theatre in Paris during the Paris Massacre. Back in March, he came out in this Rolling Stone interview. He was basically forced to back down over his comments about what he witnessed immediately before the attack because they had the usual mob outrage meltdown. He, at the time, basically said that there was some indication the security, the Muslims working in the security at the theatre, may have had some foreknowledge, may have allowed this to happen. He kind of backed down from that. He recanted a little bit, as we were talking about before. Now he's come back and kind of reaffirmed some of those claims. Tell us about this interview and what was said.
I think the deal with Jesse is he's a rock and roll musician, so he's not used to this world. And when he comes out and is honest about what he saw, which is, by the way, Muslims, the same shooters that did the shooting, they're all day in the venue, looking at people strangely, security guards not doing their normal job, which is guarding the back door, all of this strange behavior very early. So the narrative that they just sort of stormed in and started shooting people, no. The joint was being cased, and they were in there for a reason. You know how shows go when you're the band. You do sound check. No one's allowed in. The back door must be shut. He noticed, by the way, when he was running out that the back door had been propped open. There was all this unusual behavior. Now, I don't know why he recanted. I should have asked him about that, I guess. But I think what happened was he had managers and agents and labels going, "What are you doing? Don't talk about that." And he went, "Oh, okay, sorry." And I think he went, "Wait a minute, I'm not sorry." And when we spoke, he went back to story A, the original version of events, which is indisputable, which is someone there was in on it. And I think what happened was, and we're seeing this all over the Western world, no one wanted to be bigoted. So they wanted to have a large percentage of Muslim employees at this place to look cool. Even though the Bataclan is a Jewish venue, they were already putting themselves at risk by hiring these scumbags.
And he also made this comment, which I found interesting, because this is something I've reported on. Quote, "A day after at the stadium, Muslims booed the moment of silence, and we barely heard about it in the press. I saw Muslims celebrating in the street during the attack. I saw it with my own eyes in real time. How did they know what was going on? There must have been coordination." So again, that goes to the possibility of prior knowledge, but it also goes to the fact that after Brussels, Belgium's vice prime minister came out and said that he admitted that Muslims were celebrating in the streets after the attack on the Brussels airport and metro. We had a similar thing. A teacher blew the whistle on some Muslim students in his class were celebrating the Brussels attack. So what does it say about, the state of multiculturalism and integration in Europe that Muslims are out on the streets celebrating these ISIS massacres? I guess hug a Muslim wasn't much success, right?
No, well, it's two things, and they're equally sinister here. One is that Muslims who know what happened and can see it with their own eyes go, "Yay, you blew up a bunch of infidels." Two is there's some who already knew. Now, I've seen French people in Paris talk about they were outside and they thought it was fireworks. So even if you are a Muslim and you hear that sound, why do you instantly know that infidels are being killed inside? Unless there was talk going around the community that there was going to be an anti-infidel attack. And we know that the soccer stadium was attacked at the same time. 140 people died that day. Only 89 were at the Bataclan. And when you have that many people being attacked, you know that there's multitudes of people providing arms, coordinating the attacks. It goes out from there. And then when the police, by the way, the police in Paris are on the same page as us. They are pissed off. It's only the Parisian citizens that have swallowed this multicultural crap. But they look at Les Banlieues, the satellite suburbs around Paris, 420 mosques, 100% of them had jihadist recruitment material in them.
And they found a bunch of weapons there as well. And with the police, this is correct. This also came up in the interview, I believe. They were told that there was some kind of hostage situation, which is why there was a delay in the response, correct?
Well, I have heard, and Jesse didn't confirm this publicly, but I have heard through my connections there that the cops actually went out assassinating jihadists. There was guys that they were suspicious of, that they knew they were involved, and they went there and shot them point blank because they knew any other way would just be a slow burn and they wouldn't get their bad guys. I've heard the same thing with Katrina, too, that a lot of detectives will take advantage of this time to take out repeat offenders. I'm not sure how I feel about that, actually.
No, I mean, this is a huge interview. I think I'm going to do an article on this. This is his quote. There's no denying the terrorists were already inside and they had to get in somehow. During the shooting, I went outside and the backstage door was propped open. How did that happen? So it's just interesting how he's now come back and basically reaffirmed what he saw in the first place. He had to say, well, yes, I don't know 100% for sure that the Muslim security had prior knowledge, but he's basically retelling what he said in the first place. And it's extremely interesting, especially given what's happened last night. The flight out of Paris, again, hug a Muslim, didn't seem to work. This is another attack on French people as well as the other nationalities on that plane. I think there are about 15 French people now dead. It looks like a terrorist attack. Have you been following this Egypt Air story?
Yes, and once again, what are we getting from the West? Total capitulation. Oh, it could have been some sort of electrical failure. Please, please don't face the truth. And that's because we are wimps now. And this is the ultimate weapon that terrorists use. They use our fear. They use our fear of Islamophobia. Rotherham was using it for a child prostitution ring. The police are too scared to prosecute them. The best weapon that ISIS has is our own innate insecurity about our culture. And that's what's nuts about these lefties is they're cannibalizing each other. They're trying to erase the male patriarchy. But when they're in control, they're the ones attacking each other. And when they look to a system, it ends up being way more sexist, racist, homophobic, archaic than ours. The white male patriarchy was working fine. And when you push it out, you replace it with this. Everything you hate times 1,000.
And now you've got women and feminists in Cologne immediately after the mass molestation going to the migrant camp and handing out roses. I mean, how do you explain that, Gavin? Is it trauma bonding? Is it Stockholm syndrome? Is it because it's more comfortable to delude yourself and think that this isn't a problem than to actually recognize it?
It's virtue signaling. You know, a lot of people are denying that the Bataclan even happened. I on my video on Rebel Media where I put it up, it's got as many dislikes as it does likes because these people are saying it's all a lie, it never happened. And I honestly think it just doesn't fit in their millennial brains. They go, no, this can't be it. Yes, it can be, okay? If your brain can't handle bad behavior from Muslims, just look at the raw evidence of, say, honor killings in Britain with Pakistanis. Look at them throwing acid in their daughter's face. Just that. Is that my fault? Is that my imperialism? Is that OPEC throwing that acid in their face? No. It's a religion that is plagued with inbreeding and is led by with verses more primitive than the Old Testament. We have a 2.0 with Christianity. The Quran is an ancient barbaric text, and these inbred Muslims are following it. It's a recipe for disaster. And the fact that we are laying out the red carpet for this because we feel so horrible about ourselves is, I mean, it's the apocalypse.
I mean, that's the point, isn't it? Western imperialism isn't to blame for the fact that, still 10, 11 Muslim countries execute gay people. That's got nothing to do with the invasion of Iraq.
Why is it a given that Western imperialism was bad? Why is it a given that colonizing India was to their detriment? I thought Britain built beautiful infrastructures there. We just accept that white people going somewhere must have made it worse. I don't know. Haiti seems to be doing a lot worse since they kicked us out. Jamaica seems to be doing a lot worse since independence. I can't think of a place that kicked out white people and benefited from it.
Well, no, they equate that kind of ancient colonialism with modern day imperialism, which of course is now based around attacking and regime changing secular leaders who are actually fighting against the Islamists, people who are not perfect, but people like Saddam Hussein, Bashar al-Assad, Muammar Gaddafi. That's the modern version of imperialism, and that's actually playing into the hands of the Islamists. They again conflate that with the British coming into India and other places like that, as you just pointed out.